Hey, welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
Dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small.
Hello there and welcome to episode 30 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. I have to tell you, I'm a little bit excited to hit the number 30. It's not a very big milestone, but for me, it's a milestone nonetheless. I really did think when I started out doing this podcast way back on January 1st this year that I would have run out of things to say by now. But I can tell you that sometimes I even think I need to do 2 a week just to say everything I want to say. So what do I have to say this week? This week is all about LinkedIn, my absolute favorite social media platform. And if you've missed the last 2 episodes, or if you're new to my world, episode 28 and 29 were audits of Facebook and Instagram respectively. And of course, today we are doing an audit on your LinkedIn platform. If you're not on LinkedIn, don't switch off. Give me a bit of a chance to convince you that perhaps you should be. And if you missed the audits on Facebook or Instagram, maybe head back over there to episode 28 and 29 and have a listen in when you get a chance. I can't forget to say thank you and show my gratitude for you guys that are listening in. I know you have lots of choices when it comes to podcasts, so I really am grateful that you are lending me your ears today. It wasn't all that long ago that I actually did an episode on LinkedIn. In fact, it was episode 20. So I'm going to try not to repeat myself today, but I really did want to do an audit of the 3 platforms all in a row. So I really do encourage you to head back to episode 20. I think it was 16 tips and tricks all about LinkedIn. It is a really great episode full of lots of gold. So if you're a LinkedIn lover, head back to episode 20. If not, stick around. I promise to convince you to be a LinkedIn lover. LinkedIn is actually my favorite platform, and you may hear that in my voice as we go along today. That actually surprises many small business owners because they're really not giving it the attention and the weight that it deserves. They're still perhaps trying to get their head around Facebook and Instagram, and I absolutely appreciate that and know what that's like. But I really do hope by the time I finish this episode, I might have convinced you to start taking LinkedIn seriously or setting up your own profile and seeing how it could work inside your business. Remember, and it's a really big thing to remember, Googling anybody's name will bring up their LinkedIn profile in about the first 1 or 2 listings on any Google search. Now that is pure power. That is the power of a LinkedIn profile. Spend all your money on SEO that you like, but if you have a really good LinkedIn profile that has lots of keywords in it, you're likely to come up in the first couple of searches on Google. It's like magic. It's like free magic if you get it right. But first of all, of course, we need to do our discovery of the week. And we are going to talk about headshots because I've spoken about headshots in length, both on the last 2 podcasts when we've been auditing your Facebook and your Instagram profiles. And I'm actually going to talk about them again today because, of course, you need a profile pic on LinkedIn as well. So I thought it was really appropriate that this week's discovery of the week was about headshots. My photographer, Karen Merry of Merry Images, so shout out to Karen, told me about this website a little while ago. So one of the best ways to make sure that your headshot is LinkedIn worthy or Facebook worthy or Instagram worthy is to use a website called Photo Feeler. So PHOTOFEELER. Photo Feeler, and it's at photofeeler.com. Photo Feeler puts your headshot in front of thousands of people who anonymously rank it for competence, likability, and influence. So you can upload a few different versions of yourself and of your headshots and see which one the users rank the best for LinkedIn. Now, I know that it might sound a little bit funny letting anonymous people rank you for things like competence, likability, and influence, but that is what your profile picture is all about. You want people to feel that they can like you, trust you, and that you are the expert you say you are just by judging that little photo. It's not an exact science, clearly, but if it does help you choose a photo that's going to attract the right people to your business, then it absolutely might be worth a go. In fact, I'd love to hear your thoughts if you decide to go across and use it. Let me know on social media or send me an email at jen@jendonovan.com.au and let me know what your thoughts are and what photo they ranked and whether or not that surprised you. Of course, just a little disclaimer, my discoveries are just that, and I am in no way affiliated with any of them, and I certainly promise to tell you if I ever am. I just love them. I love that they make our life a little bit simpler, and in this case, it just might make choosing your headshots a little bit simpler for you. But let's get into the episode, the LinkedIn audit. LinkedIn is what I like to call professional Facebook. No trolls and a heck of a lot more respect. And it's fabulous for connections and even for education. If there's an expert in their field, they'll be on LinkedIn, which is a little bit of a hint. If you're an expert in your field and you're not on LinkedIn, then this is definitely the podcast episode for you. It's a great platform for connecting with people, and it's really like networking online. So if you think networking is something that can help grow you and grow your business, and when I say grow you, we should always be investing in ourselves, then again, this is the platform for you. Now, I really do need to confess that when I say this is my favorite platform, it was definitely not always like that. When I had my retail shop, it made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. I just wasn't willing to invest the time and energy to find out or see how it could work for me and my business. And quite frankly, no one on podcast was talking about LinkedIn to convince me otherwise. But as I evolved as a business owner and my business also evolved, I really did begin to see how I could harness the power of connections and absolutely fell in love with LinkedIn. The one thing I've realized with LinkedIn, which has really allowed me to grow my fantastic little business, is you really do have to give to get. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. You really should be reaching out on every platform, but this one in particular can really love you back if you love it first. So I hope that's enough convincing to at least get you to listen to the end of this podcast if you're not already on LinkedIn, or if you are and you've set up a profile and haven't really done too much with it, or it needs a bit of an audit. All right, stick around. Let's dig in. First of all, your profile picture. If you've listened to my last 2 episodes, you'll know that I'm repeating myself. Your profile picture needs to be of you. It should be professional and it should give the message that you want to give to your audience. It should be like you are today, not you 10 years ago, you today. Looking sexy when you're a chiropractor? No, not a good look. Glamour shots? Nope. Not looking at the camera? Nope. Got to instill trust in the person who's looking at your profile. Pets, friends, partners? Nope, nope, nope. I know that I'm repeating myself if you've listened to the other episodes, but it's just the same message. You want to be engaging. You want to give the impression that you're someone who's trustworthy, authentic, and an authority in whatever it is that you're an expert in. They should want to connect with you. If you're not sure, of course, use the photo filler that was our discovery of the week. If you can't afford a professional photo shoot, then find a white wall or throw a white sheet over your clothesline, use the filters on your phone and ask a friend or a partner to take some photos of you. There's always tricks to a good photo that will take effort, but not always money. But remember, if you're not willing to invest in you, Will your customers and your clients be willing to invest in you? All right, your background photo. LinkedIn automatically gives you a blue background for your profile. If you still have it, go to your LinkedIn profile. If you've still got the blue background, please pinky promise me that you will get rid of it as soon as this podcast finishes. When I look at someone's background, what I want to see is what they do in picture form. If a picture tells 1,000 words, then you need to make this one count. If you're a speaker, have a photo or photos of you speaking. If you teach leadership, your picture should show you leading. If you're in customer service, show yourself giving service. So you get the picture, don't you? Your background should tell me what you do in photos. Canva.com, one of my favorite all-time discoveries, has lots of templates that can help you play with your background photo. The dimensions are right there. It's just a matter of you choosing a template and making it work for you. Don't be afraid to play with it. Your background is also a great piece of real estate for advertising your services or an upcoming workshops, etc., etc. So don't be afraid to change it. It doesn't have to stay the same all the time. As your seasons and your reasons of your business change, then maybe change it as well. So moving on to number 3, we are talking about your bio. So now you've shown someone that you're trustworthy and you've told them what you do in pictures, it's time to use your words in your bio. If you look at your profile, your bio actually sits just below your name. You've got 120 characters here to grab your audience's attention. So you need to make this snippet about your audience and how you can help. Who do you help and how do you help them? You have 120 characters to answer those 2 questions. Maybe use emojis or lines to separate your words to make it look a little bit more engaging so it doesn't look like one long sentence. Your LinkedIn headline is one of the most visible sections on your LinkedIn profile. It's one of the most important fields for your LinkedIn search algorithm. And not only should your LinkedIn headline portray you as a credible member of your industry, and it should contain strategic words that help you appear higher in LinkedIn searches. Again, you have 120 characters to play with. So the next section is your about section. Your goal with your about section is to fill it all in for a start and get leads to call you or to connect with you. And by leads, I mean people who will one day do business with you. To write the about section, you need to be succinct, clear, and concise. So step 1 might be to write a short sentence of where you work and what you do, including any brands that you sell. Step 2, include your contact details, your website address, etc. And these come after the first sentence. You want this stuff above the fold, visible before anyone has to click the see more button. So if you go to someone's LinkedIn profile and you have a look at their about section, you will see that there's probably 3.5 lines or 2.5 lines, and then you've got to click see more. So what I'm saying is I want your contact details in that first 2 lines so that people don't have to go searching for how they can contact you. It's right there hitting them in the face. The third step is to answer the following questions. Who do you serve? What do you do? And why should someone choose you to buy from as opposed to everybody else on the LinkedIn platform and outside the LinkedIn platform who sells what you do or does what you do? So this is where you really need to learn to sell yourself with your experience and so forth. You have about 2,000 characters in this section. Now, there has always been a very heated discussion here whether or not you should use the words I or whether you should be talking in your buyer's language. To my knowledge, there is not an exact science for the answer for that, but I highly recommend that you talk in buyer's language. So it's not I do this and I do that and I've done it for so long. There is copy in there where you are actually talking to the client or to the customer. So you're using more buyer's language. And the reason why I think this is because they're the reader. They are looking at why they should connect with you. All right. So number 5 is your contact information, and you really need to utilize this contact information section. When someone visits your profile, is intrigued by your branding, is hooked in by the how can you help them, then they will naturally click through to the see contact information, which sits under your bio. So you need to make sure that your links here are current and valid. And if this was a blog post, I would actually underline that sentence. So let me repeat it for you. You need to make sure the links here are current and valid. So a pro tip with your website address, and I know I've said it a couple of times on different podcasts, when someone says, type in your website address, it doesn't have to be your homepage. Think about where you would like to send a LinkedIn connection when they're visiting your website. Think about the type of person that you want to attract on this platform and personalize the link or where you are sending them for that persona, for that avatar. So number 6 in the LinkedIn audit is to personalize your URL. So it's really important to customize your URL. Remember what I was saying earlier about coming up in Google searches? Well, this is where some of the magic can happen. So if you looked at your LinkedIn profile and you looked at the top for the URL, it might have numbers and letters and a bit of a jumble there. So this is why you need to make sure you change it. So it does say, if your name is Fred Astaire, it says, www.linkedin.com/in/Fred Astaire, that sort of thing. So it helps with Google rankings. Now, if you go to my show notes at socialmediamarketing.com.au, you can see under number 6 exactly how to change your URL into your name. It is a first come, first serve basis. So if your name is taken, you may need to get a little bit creative with that as well. So there's only about 7 steps to change your URL. And again, they're sitting in the show notes if you would like to go there and find out how to do it. It's really quite simple, but so very important for Google rankings as well. Okay, so now we've updated our profile, we've got an engaging headshot, we've got a great background that tells a story, we own our URL, we have a great headline and an about section to die for. So now it's all about the content that you are going to provide because you are on this platform. So let's really quickly have a look at the content. If you're a regular listener to my podcast, you probably know what I'm about to say. And if I've said it once, I've probably said it a lot of times. You've got to know who your who is. It's not just something us marketers say. It really is super important to have a really good handle on who it is that you are wanting to attract and who it is that you serve. If you've never worked on your client avatar before, then head back to episode 25 where I really do talk at length about getting to know your who. If you know who you want to attract on the LinkedIn platform, it's all about creating and curating and designing content for that audience. And if you know who they are, it makes it so much simpler. So one of the biggest questions I get is, can you repurpose what you've put on other social media sites? And the answer is absolutely. But to a degree, there is a little bit of a caveat there. Is your target audience exactly the same? If your target audience is exactly the same, then yes, it's probably a little bit bigger of a yes. But I really want you to remember that this is professional Facebook. So sometimes you might be able to deliver the same message, the same content, the same idea, but your language of how you convey that message, content, or idea might be slightly different to how you would convey it on, or the language might be slightly different to what you would use on other platforms. You be you, absolutely for sure, but just be aware of the language that you're using here and make sure it's LinkedIn appropriate. Here's an example of what I mean. LinkedIn is for business owners, for professionals. Yes, granted, we are all consumers at one time or another, but here on LinkedIn, we are business owners and therefore nearly everyone on the platform has something to sell. They may not be selling now, but they definitely have something to sell. So going in with a selling mentality like you might on another platform just won't work here. So of course, on all platforms, we should have a give, ask mentality. But here, everyone is selling. So being a big fish in a small pond is harder. So with your content, it's got to be value. You've got to attract them through the value that you are giving. So can you see the slight difference where perhaps on Facebook it's B2C as well, business to consumer as well as business to business, whereas LinkedIn, it is probably something like 98% business to business. People have something to sell. Almost everyone has something to sell. So you need to be aware of that in the language that you use and the content that you provide. So as far as value goes, what does that look like? Well, I guess one of the things might be perhaps if you write blogs, you could repurpose them here on the LinkedIn platform. You can use articles. You can make them articles, which is LinkedIn's built-in blog platform. You can take short snippets of paragraphs or videos, taking one point of your blog and talking about that in a video or talking about that in the written word, and then point them back to the blog. You can take quotes from your blogs and do a quote post and add some more text to it, again linking to the original blog. Images with stats over them work really well for engagement on LinkedIn, and you can also repurpose your blog as an infographic if you can do that with the content that's in there. So let's say you don't actually write blogs then. Like, I've given you some great examples of some of the content that can be value based that you can share on LinkedIn, but what if you don't write blogs? Well, I guess if you don't write blogs, the content you share still has to have that educational value. And a word of advice, never underestimate what you know that other people need to know. So what other things could you post about or to LinkedIn that would be of educational value? So here's some little tips and tricks which might help you out and hopefully get your creative juices flowing. You could post all about industry knowledge that only you know because you're in that industry. What about latest and greatest trends? There is always trends in the market. You could talk about that. Of course, there's tips and tricks and how-tos that you can post about. You could post part of a PowerPoint presentation as well that provides some educational value to your audience. You can talk about patterns in your industry, perhaps even lessons that you've learned from working inside your industry. Hot stories that are in the media that you either relate to your business or you can take an angle out of it so it can relate to your business. Of course, celebrate company and business triumphs and milestones and wins. They're always great engaging posts on LinkedIn. If you have a team member, highlight the team member, or a leader, highlight your leader. And of course, you can always share someone else's content. Perhaps they're not in competition to you, but they're complementary to you. And you know that your audience would love to know about X as well. And can I give you a pro tip? You're not going to like it, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. It's 3 words. Well, it's one word repeated 3 times. Video, video, video. Video is 5 times more likely than any other type of content to start a conversation on LinkedIn. LinkedIn members spend almost 3 times more time watching videos compared to static content. No surprise there. We know that video is king. So a couple of things that you can do as far as video is concerned that might be a little bit different on LinkedIn compared to other platforms might be a short video series like LinkedIn Marketing Minutes or even video case studies. Always remember captions though. It's really important because it is a professional platform, people are more than likely watching LinkedIn on a train, on a plane, at work. So they're likely got the sound off. So if you're doing video, make sure it has captions on it. So just a couple of points to wind up. Business pages on LinkedIn are making a really big comeback. You've actually been able to build a business page on LinkedIn for as long as I can remember, possibly for as long as the platform has been around. But honestly, they haven't really been that successful. And even now, they've got a little way to go because there's lots of clicks to get on your business page unless they find it organically in the feed. But it's definitely something to put on your to-do list. It's on my to-do list to build a business page. And I think that it would be a really great idea to put it on your to-do list as well. It'll be really interesting to see in 12 months from now how much weight and power a LinkedIn business page actually holds. So before I finish up talking about this wonderful platform, I will give you the pro tip to end all pro tips. On this platform, if you engage, if you reach out, if you give value, if you connect with people with a personalized message, respond to connection requests with personalized messages, you comment and you like and you give love, it will come back to you tenfold. I know that I recommend this for all social media platforms, but they won't always give you as much love as what LinkedIn will give you if you put this type of strategy in place, because LinkedIn hasn't been killed yet by algorithm. It's almost algorithmless. I don't think that's a word, and I'm sure they do have an algorithm, but compared to the other platforms, it's like algorithm bliss. Microsoft owns this platform and they are doing great things. They're following trends, absolutely, but they are also trying to stand out and look different. Embrace LinkedIn, and especially if you're B2C, if you sell a physical product, be an early adopter. Give this platform a go. I can't guarantee it will work, but no one is really giving B2C a really good go on LinkedIn. So it could be your chance to be an early adopter. If you're business to business and you aren't on LinkedIn, I highly recommend that you go through this episode and episode 20 and really get your head around LinkedIn and the power of LinkedIn for your business. And finally, if your employer does have a page already, don't forget to connect with them. Connect with your employer so that gives you more opportunity to be found on LinkedIn as well. So guys, that was quite the episode, wasn't it? I hope you got some great gold from it, but that is it for episode 30. If you have any questions or queries or thoughts or tricks, let's continue the conversation in my Facebook group, Like-Minded Business Owners. If you haven't joined yet, I welcome you with open arms. I think that you should go over and join. The link is in the show notes, or go to Facebook and type in Like-Minded Business Owners. I will be back next Thursday, of course, with more marketing know-how and another great discovery. If you're enjoying this podcast, please don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and maybe you could share it with a friend. If you haven't left me a rating and review and you are enjoying this podcast, I would really love for you to take 2 minutes out of your day and leave a rating and a review. And if you've already left a rating and review, just saying that you can actually leave another one. Remember to stay on your game and keep going for your dreams, because the world needs that special gift that only you have. Thank you so much again for lending me your ears. I know you have lots of options, so thank you for making me one of them. And of course, I'd love to connect with you all on LinkedIn. So look me up. Jen Donovan. That's Jen with 2 N's, and Donovan is Donovan. I really look forward to receiving your connection requests. And remember, my small business peeps, as my opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.
If you feel lonely, say it loud. There's no time like the present. Tell it like you feel it, say it proud. Be true and let us see you for the star that you are. No point in dreaming small.